Hey y'all, this is PJ. It is a pleasure to be here with a friend and a sojourner and a warrior in the struggle. My friend and brother, Reverend Dr. Lee Tredwell. How are you?
I am excellent, PJ. How are you? And it is a good thing to be able to be here with you as well. Someone who has spent much of their life's journey struggling with issues of race, class, difference, but not just in terms of the theory, but in terms of the practicality, the on-the-ground practicality of saving Black lives and brown lives and white lives in community. And so I'm delighted to be with you.
Ditto. You and I have been at the work of accepting, embracing all who are human and the struggle. And I particularly appreciate the work you've done on the intersection of theology and queer identity and creating a pathway for people to know that they are valued in God. And so today we're going to be talking about white privilege. If you're watching this on Facebook, please share this. We're also going to be hosting a town hall forum on March 31st at 5:30 Mountain Standard, 7:30 Eastern. The Zoom link is in the feed. Click on that link, and again, please share. So we're going to get started. We're going to talk for about 15 to 20 minutes. Lee, let's start here. This class is going to be about white privilege. Can you tell me what you understand white privilege and then also its kin, sister, or brother, white supremacy? What do those terms mean to you, Lee?
It's important to remember, PJ, that I've lived a few years now. In fact, my life has spanned from separate water fountains and toilets. One of my earliest remembrances when my mother had, when I, as a young man, had to hold my mother's purse while she went to the black bathroom, which was way back near the warehouse and around the corner and so forth. And my thinking about how I must look as a young man holding my mother's purse and the queerness of that I felt both within myself and what that purse represented. So I offer that as a span of life to say that white privilege is something that I've always been aware of, have always seen in many different genres, whether we're talking about schools or the labor market or whatever source we're talking about. The dominant culture reinforces and white privilege, and it is intertwined so that, as some people say, it's like fish in water, very hard to recognize. White supremacy, though, I see is very quite different, in the sense that it is like the MAGA movement, that the very foundation of our nation serves the interests of white people over others. The other element of it is that there is this component of violence in white supremacy. It is about dominance. And so the wars that we are engaged in and have been engaged in for 20 years, et cetera, are all about white supremacy and white dominance, as are instances of lynching and slavery and genocide, homophobia, and the list goes on and on.
Absolutely.
Jay, facing whiteness is the term that you have selected for this. Now, I know you're a learned man, and I know that you understand the importance of language. And so I'd like to say a little bit about why you have labeled this living experience in this manner.
So facing whiteness to me means facing the part of myself that resides in the shadow that I'm too ashamed to look at. And I think when we saw, the first Black Lives Matter image that I saw, Lee, as an adult was Rodney King being battered. And the part of that I could not face was that I was part of the system that not only killed or lynched thousands of people in the South, but that I stand to benefit from the way in which we criminalize people. That's a haunting reality, right? And so, for example, the shadow that we live in is that, you know, I live in a gentrified community. I've got my Black Lives Matter paraphernalia. I got it right here, right? And yet I benefit from the fact that Black folks don't live in my neighborhood. I benefit from the gentrification that has displaced people of color from the neighborhood I live in. And so facing whiteness is coming to terms with the privilege that we have that was unearned, coming to the terms with the fact that we still benefit from that privilege, and coming to the terms that our paralysis is part of the problem, and that white silence is a form of violence. And so that it is time that we wake up and face the shadow part of ourselves. Don't worry about those Proud Boys, right? They're not our problem. We are our problem. And before we can be part of the solution, we've got to take a look at the part of the problem, excuse me, we have to take a look at how we're already part of the problem.
Got you.
And so, Lee, what if a white person doesn't even believe in white supremacy?
I think that's an interesting question to raise. But, and it may be very much that if that is the case, this may not be the course for them, because this course deals with the idea that white privilege and white supremacy are recognized. We're past the stage of debating whether or not these elements are present in our society. We know that they are. What we're talking about is an ability to go deeper and to come to a place where we're not debating the existence of white privilege or its manifestation as white supremacy. But this is a class developed for people who are ready to face their own internalized white privilege and to take action to transform this impression into consciousness, liberation, and repair. All three, which are critical elements, not just the consciousness, because we certainly want to convey that in this process, but the liberation, and then what we do to repair the situation. You know, I love problem analysis, but I'm most excited about solutions. PJ, what would you even say to people who want to engage in the class? What is in it for them and for me? Why would we even want to engage in this? What is our encouragement to people to engage in the class? And so let me answer first. I would say that there's a certain urgency, and I have felt this for some time, that there's a certain unveiling that is occurring in the society, that those things, those ideas, those ideologies, those positions, those myths that we have bought into and believed to be truth are being revealed for what they are. But there is also this urgency about homeless people who are being swept away from the streets in which they have to live on because they have no housing, the imprisonment, the ongoing imprisonment of Black men, queer folk losing ground, and Asian women being murdered in their workplaces, and the Queen of England upset about her progeny turning out to be brown. So there is a certain urgency, I think, and a certain period of opportunity that we have if we take up these issues now and help to determine some clarity.
Great.
PJ, is the course only for white people?
Wow. You know, I've thought about that. The first way I'll answer that is who defines who is white? Whiteness is not a race. It is a way of certain people having entitlement over others. And incidentally, not every white person benefits from being white.
True.
And also people of color and Irish people and Italian people often sometimes benefit from whiteness. There's a great book called How the Irish Became White.
Right.
My Italian grandfather, for example, fought in World War II. Because he was Italian, he was not entitled to have a gun.
Wow.
Italian people. So this is a course for people who identify as white or are identified by the external community as white. And what I would also say is that for folks that are in biracial relationships, for folks that are struggling with their own identity, this is a class for you to examine your own interior, your own spiritual growth, and to see how you can transition from being white to being human. And so that's what this course is about. Why, Lee, would anybody even want to take this course?
Well, it seems to me that again, we're at a great point of opportunity, and so if one wants to be enriched as a human, as you suggest, if one wants to be enriched as a contributor to the society, here's an opportunity to explore white privilege and white supremacy at a deep level, at a deep personal level, where we're able to see the work and our contributions both to the problem and to move from that to the solutions. There's more to know about racism and privilege work, and more that we can come to understand in ways in which we can disrupt it within our community and within the larger world. Another society, another world is possible, and we all need to become actively involved in the human struggle for freedom and to become, as you suggest, more humane. Beautiful. That's why you should engage in this.
Yeah, let me say a little bit about that too. This class is an invitation into radical freedom. Racism is misconstrued to be about only damaging and hurting people of color. But because we are the agents of that hell and that destruction, our humanity is diminished. And so this is an opportunity for us to recover the best parts of who we can be. The most radical thing, I think, Lee, that we can do in this post-COVID generation is transfer freedom, liberation, and solidarity to our children. And until we are clear, we can't be clear for them. This is a spiritual journey. It will be a process whereby folks who don't know what to do, and we know that, right? When George Floyd died, we don't know what to do, Lee, but what we need to do is start here within our own selves and the work that we can do within our own community to address the guy down the street or across the street with his Trump sign, and to face the parts of our community that need to evolve.
So if I hear you right, you're saying that before we can become part of the solution, we must first take some responsibility for our own parts and our own actions, and that we have to not be paralyzed by the circumstance, but rather take responsibility for our personal agency. Agency, a word I absolutely love. Only love that word more than power, right? Capacity to make change. In fact, once we take responsibility for our agency, we become a part of the struggle for freedom and liberation. And I think that this is this course, this lived experience that we are shaping is an invitation for us to explore the deeper parts of our humanity and the deeper parts of our interface with each other.
Amen. Amen, Reverend. Just quick in closing, what I love about this struggle and this dialogue is that we're already there, Lee. You and I are doing the work in and through this very dialogue, and that we're going to be inviting people into that same conscious, awoke space where we're standing on the shoulders of John Lewis. We're actually standing on the shoulders of Connie Curry and some good white folks. And so this is going to be a journey for people to transition. You and I will be leading this course. We're going to have that town hall on the 31st. But you'll learn more about this. There's a Facing Whiteness group on Facebook. Please join. Also, the Facing Whiteness website will launch in about 10 days. And so stay tuned for this and really exciting journey. Any closing comments, my reverend? By the way, I am a member of Lee's church, which I'm so excited about. And so any closing comments, my dear brother and friend, my co-conspirator?
I'm looking forward to the spiritual component of this as well, because it will enhance our humanity in ways that we have not considered before. And it is not religious based in that regard, but rather an understanding that the Creator and the forces of creation have given us opportunity to help shape and mold the society and the world in which we live. And we need to participate in that. And here is an opportunity to do that.
Amen. Ashe. One last note, this work is not free. Freedom is not free. The time that Lee has committed to this and that I have committed to this, we need to be valued. And so there'll be a fee for this, but we will not necessarily and only have it be monetary, but there'll be an exchange. So that's all we got. We hope to see you on the 31st. Thank you, my brother Lee, for having this conversation. And folks who have watched this, share this with your friends and neighbors.
Absolutely great. Peace to you.
All right, peace.